We have just watched Steps. So first of all, Sam, thank you very much for bringing Steps to Romford, 2 years after you brought your last film to Romford, Home Fires. So thank you very much. It's been great to see you again. If I can just get the panel to, starting with yourself, Sam, tell the audience who you are and what your part is in the film in terms of your role.
Hello, my name is Sam Weeks. I am the director, producer and uncredited writer for the movie Steps.
I'm Colin Hill and I played Grandpa Bill.
Hi, I'm Dean Kilbey and I play the dad.
Hi, I'm Nicky B and I play Wendy.
So, I'm going to have to start with Grandad.
Yeah, good. Well,
So-
we've got time left.
Yeah.
We're going back to the first film now.
Yeah. You always seem like a really nice chap, and that how hard is it to play someone quite so unpleasant?
Well, it's not hard at all because any part that you're given, providing you get a bit of biography into it, think about why you're being what you're being, I find it comes quite naturally. But of course, I've had an acting career of over 60 years and I've never got the girl once. I'm always the hard nut, I'm always the difficult person, so I suppose it's a bit of typecasting in a way, but I'm glad that you think that I'm a nice person in reality.
I said you see.
See, yeah.
Sam, sorry, coughing here. Sam, so when you came to cast your film, how exactly did you go about that process?
Well, sometimes it's a bit random, like I'll just get flashes of that person will really suit that character very well. The strange thing is I used to do a bit of acting myself, so I used to be on the stage, and it means that I have been in these sort of acting situations, so I know a lot of friends who are actors, and very often I will look at their character and think, imagine that but heightened, or in a slightly different scenario, and I tend to write roles for my friends and for my acting colleagues, and as I say, sometimes it is completely random. Something will pop into my mind and then I'll sort of make a character around that. So for Steps we needed a villain, and I thought, well, who would play a good villain? And strangely enough, I saw this image, I think it was at the premiere of my last movie, and Colin, he's got such expressive eyebrows. So I thought, you know what, imagine this chap, and we give him sort of a gravelly voice and mess up his hair and make him look evil. He's got these such expressive eyebrows that he'd really make a good villain. And it's just little things like that that just come out of the blue and just inspire me. Yeah, that's how I go about it. It's just the tiny things that then inspire character.
So when did you decide to bring Dean and Nicky in?
Well, Dean had worked on a movie called Next in Line, which was directed by my friend Johnny Bryan, and I was looking for someone to play the dad. And strangely enough, in the movie, Harry Wells, I somehow thought when I first saw an image of Dean that he looked quite similar to him, and obviously Dean had done all these other movies, and social media is a powerful thing, so I reached out to Dean and asked him if he'd be interested, and that's how I sort of got him involved. And Nicky, actually, I've been wanting to use for ages, but I just never had the right role for her. But when I thought, actually, I'm making this movie Steps, I need this quirky, nice couple, I thought Nicky would be great straight away, because she has that nice, caring quality, which is apparently unusual, Nicky, because you say you usually play villainous roles.
But the irony is, the first time you saw me in something, I was playing the most evil person in the world.
I know, but somehow I saw the light, so...
You see the better side of me.
So, Nicky, let's start with yourself. What really stood out about the script to you?
I love the whole script, but I really did love Wendy's character because of the fact that she's she's the change. Her and Colin, you know, with a change, we start that pathway to a newer journey and lift it and brighten it. So, but I'm going to be honest. This is the second time I've watched the movie through, and I've cried every time. And that, because it's really emotional and it really does get to you. So it's so well done. So I'm really honoured to be an absolute part of it as well.
Dean, how about yourself?
I'll just take any job I'm offered, really. I'm joking. No, I'd seen Sam's previous work, actually, and even though he's a young guy, I just thought, wow, he does some really good stuff. And I know his feature film won, I believe, the best feature film a couple of years ago, The Home Fires.
Yeah,
Is
one
that
of
right?
the best feature.
Yeah, so I thought it was amazing. Yeah, kind of contacted each other through social media, and he wanted an old geezer who could look a little bit younger with a hat on at the beginning, and he made me shave, just in my face, obviously. And at the end, so don't make up your own jokes. It's a serious film. If you want to see a comedy, it's manfish, but don't. But no, in all honesty, yeah, he's great to work for. He's got so much knowledge for someone so young. And he's well, you can see for yourself, he's amazing, the end results. And it is a lovely story, you know.
And I kid you not, we were literally talking about you about 40 minutes ago, in a really derogatory way. No. But what we were actually saying is how important it is, if you're involved in a film, to continually champion your film. And I've got to say, Dean, you are probably one of the best champions as an actor of any film, for any film that you are involved in. You are literally flying that flag morning, noon and night. And I think, so if anyone's looking out there to cast, I mean, he's already explained that he is quite cheap. So, but yeah, no. So, and I think, and while we're on that subject, why do you think that is so important? Because so many people in this industry will turn up, they will take the paycheck, and they will walk away, and it's almost like it's forgotten.
I suppose I've been doing it for 15 years, and you know, the first couple of years, you know, to be honest, the last 3 years I feel like I can call myself an actor now, because it takes ages to get the roles you want and the big roles, and I'm so grateful to be in any film, you know, not because I'm desperate, but I love acting, and I think it's a team thing. It doesn't matter how small, you know, my role is very small in this, but I still came today because I wanted to support Sam. It's gratitude for being in the film, it's a brilliant film, and it's a team, so I want to be with everyone involved, and I do that for every film I'm in. So that's to me, that's why I do it, because I love everything about it.
Can I just say that his Facebook post alerted me to the fact that this was happening today, and that's why I'm here, because
I'll
I think
that chair.
Excellent.
And I'll be honest, I learned from him.
Yeah.
So, Sam, a little bit of a slightly controversial question, I guess, because your films are always quite ambitious in their scale. How do you go about funding them?
So it is a mixture of several things. I would say that, you know, if you want to set out to do something, you've got to do it, but you also got to make sure that everyone around you is comfortable. I would never sort of swindle or hurt anyone to get them into my movies.
That's a commitment.
Yeah. No, it's more or less a mixture of really good friendships, self-funding, and I must admit I'm really, really lucky to have a good family that helps in some of the funding of the movies. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of all. In the future, I would love to try and, you know, get more and more into the funding process, because I must admit that's something I'm a little bit amateur on. But you know, everything is, as the movie, a step. So hopefully through the years I'll be able to get to that point where I can get more funding for my movies, and I can afford to give back to all the wonderful people who have been involved in the movies so far.
Why do you think it's so important to continually challenge yourself as a director and filmmaker as a whole. And the reason why I ask this question is I'm not going to ask you to disclose anything about what you're working on next, but everything you do is a little bit different to maybe someone that it would be in the same position as you. Quite ambitious, quite adventurous. Why? What is it that drives you?
I think it's the adventure. I just love to do something different, and I feel that each film, even if it seems really different from my life, has a piece of me at that time. But once that is over, that is left. It is there in that movie. People can watch it, but I need to move on spiritually to something else. And also, I think I'm learning, and everyone always is learning as a filmmaker. And I think that if I was just now to say to you, I've done all my learning, I don't need to move on, I don't need to try anything different, I think that would be such a shame. Because there's so much out there, so much you can do, that if you were just to say, no, I'm a professional, I don't need help from anyone else, I don't need this and that, that would just be such a waste of time. So I believe you really need to go out there, try different things. It doesn't matter if it's ambitious, because that's the thing. You're always compromising as a filmmaker, but you can get around it. There's always ways. So I just love to push the medium, so to speak.
You're a great consultant as well, and I think that is a real skill that a lot of filmmakers should learn. Sam and I have frequent conversations via Facebook about different aspects of what he's working on. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, I'm not some sort of exclusive club, and I think that is so important that you keep everyone in the loop and you're sharing your experiences. Have you got any other interesting tips that you'd like to pass on to any of our aspiring filmmakers here?
I think mainly it's just to inspire everyone around you and not to be so enclosed. As I was growing up, I've had a few friends who have tried to help me, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but what I noticed is it never seems to work if you are a one-person vehicle and you say, leave me alone, it's my thing, I'm going to do it without you. I just don't think that works. It's a collaborative sport, and you've got to keep people in the loop from the very beginning, because then they understand the process more, instead of just showing up on set and just you say, right, do this, and they're like, well, I don't know where we are, what's the character, what's the backstory. I think it's really important just to delve into everything to make your world believable, if that makes sense.
And both of your films have strong levels of morality. I think there's a real message in both films, particularly Steps. I found morally it's really nice, and there's probably not a lot of filmmakers of your age, and I'm not trying to make a thing about your age so much, but will tackle a subject that isn't really going to offend anyone, but tell it incredibly well. Can you tell us a little bit about how you work in that area?
In the sort of how I do that process?
In terms of the morality, because both your stories have strong moral messages.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's just like sort of anybody, there's dark moments and there's light moments, but I think, if you're showing someone a movie, you've got to show that there are light moments as well, because otherwise it's just, where's that journey? And I like to show journeys, and the thing is in every life, in every document, in this, that, the other, there is always really dark moments, but there is always really light moments, and it's very sporadic or just strange, random, so to speak. It just comes out of nowhere. And I think it's just important to try and show that you can have bad days, you can be sad, angry, pissed off, you can be horrible to people, but at the same time you can also be happy, you can also have good moments, because that's really what it is to be human, and I don't like to just have one type of thing, really. I think it's really important to show that, yes, this is horrible, but this can also be good.
And Nicky, you were one of the good moments in that film when you roll up. I think it was you were definitely a light. You know, your character's entrance is a nice light spot and the start of that journey. Do you yourself like to? Do you have a passion for? I know you said you a previous role you were like I think you described it as the most evil person in the world. How do you find the transition between the two? Do you have a preference?
To be honest with you, I'm a bit like Dina, I don't know what roles I play, but I normally do get cast as the mean or the hard or the evil one. I used to get cast a lot of comedy before, and then sort of someone discovered that I can play mean pretty well. But it is really nice to actually play someone a little bit more light-hearted, a bit more funny. It allowed me to bring comedy back in to my performance as well, which was lovely. It was allowed me to showcase as there is a softness that I can play, so that more sort of, you know, cuddly and, you know, homely, maybe motherly type of character. So to be honest with you, I don't mind which one. It's just nice to get into. Having a variety of roles to be able to do that gives you a chance to really just get in and delve deep within the characters to bring that side out. Because I think as Sam said, we've all got a bit of hardness in us, we've all got a softness and fun and that, and it's nice to actually just really delve deep into a character and bring it to the forefront.
Okay, let's get some audience questions.
Firstly, Sam, congratulations. It's fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Very thought-provoking. We was with James every step of his journey. Really rooting for him as well. We really wanted for him to reach his dad, and we were, me personally, really willing him to turn that beer down in the end and make that first step, that first change. So just want to congratulate you all. Absolutely fantastic work.
Thank you.
And obviously, look, we're here from vshowcards.com. We're here to support Dean and Nicky. And every scene that turned on, actually, there was another member of the V Showcards community there. So I can't wait to lavish praise on all of those and get awareness out for your film. It's fantastic. We really enjoyed it. And as it turns out, there's 7 or 8 of our V Showcard community within there as well. But yeah, it's fantastic work. I mean, Dean, we know what we expect from Dean. I've worked with Dean several times, but we've got a film showing at Southend Film Festival next week as well. But it was incredible. Really powerful stuff coming from you, Sam, and we're gonna watch out for you and help however we can help you. We want to help you along this journey of yours.
Well, thank you
But
very
fantastic
much.
work.
Thank you. This means a lot. Thank you very much.
Hi Sam, just want to congratulate you, really enjoyed that. It's obviously quite a decent length film, so I guess I was curious how the post-production process went and how long it took you to complete it.
Well, the post-production work was about 7 months. As I say, because there's not a lot of budgetary requirements, well not requirements, but there's not a lot of budget for the proper big houses. It was really sort of a lot of my friends banding together and helping me to complete the movie. So we had Dom Sohail, who's our cinematographer, and he's a fantastic colorist, and he really is, that's all he talks about is colour. So essentially he would just say, I'm just happy to do it on the weekends, and every weekend he'd take a scene and he'd do it. And whilst he was doing that, me and my friend Peter, who also wrote the script, we would do the sound effects. So we went through, and I think there's about 800 tracks, because I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like, does he move his finger here? We gotta have that finger sound. So it took a long time, but for me, I sort of, the more I do movies, the more I realise that I'm happy to do it in years. I'm not here to rush it. I used to be like, I want to do this now, but then realise that you get more quality if you take your time. So I was just like, I'm happy to spend a year, and hopefully by the end of the year we will have completed, and it turned out to be 7 months. So.
I think it's important to say that this film was made in and out of the COVID lockdown. There was an awful lot of time when we couldn't do anything. Whether you were doing things with other people, I don't know, but certainly as far as the acting is concerned, we did have quite a few breaks.
I had a question for Colin.
Go on.
How did you get into the headspace of such a horrible, horrible character?
Oh, I've got a lot of horribleness in me, don't worry.
It's in the eyebrows.
I've got it, my talent is from the eyebrows up. I don't know, I mean, as I say, with every part that I play, and I've played over 200, I always try and create a personal biography. And why am I like this? And why does that inflame me? Why does that annoy me? Why does that make me so aggressive? Because in the script, people have said that Grandpa Bill is a good man, and yet I'm quite horrible to him. So there must be some goodness, but there must be something which gets me to be the way that I am. And I just try and create that backstory, and then when I'm in the performance, I actually think of that backstory, and that makes me behave the way I behave.
So, which filming locations did you use? Where are they?
So it was mostly, it was quite a lot of different ones, because the movie's got so many scenes, and what I tried to do was create a fictional world, so that it was just, this is James's story, instead of you saying, oh, that's obviously there. So his main town of Trawlers Bay was about 6 or 7 different places. It was in Sevenoaks. We rented this big terrace house street. It was, all the beach shots were in Hastings, I believe. There were other scenes in Bromley, and the pub, I think, was in Chislehurst. And again, the reason I sort of wanted to do that was because I just wanted to make sure that this was just its own unique world. Even though it's set today, there's a slightly heightened creative sense that it's just its own thing. And then, apart from that, all of the wandering around locations, we built the campsite in my garden. So in the little corner of the garden, we had the campsite. We could, walk in and out, and it had all the detail and everything. The train station and the cafe were the only 2 that we rented, from what I recall. And those were sort of in the middle of Hastings and Sevenoaks. So it was sort of all up the coast, kind of. So it was a lot.
So that's an incredible insight. I must say, when I was about the character James's age, my life was quite similar to what he was going through. And I must say, when I see a lot of the press and the buzz around the expression mental health, I just get very impatient, and I just brush it off. It seems like there's a lot of publicity around it without any true understanding. But what I got from watching that film was a real sense of empathy with somebody who's going through that, and the layers through what you see, what they're experiencing, their awareness of what they're experiencing, the developing awareness of what they're doing and why, and the real pain that's going on at the very depth of that person. I come away feeling as if I've understood a little bit more about myself as a result of seeing that film. So I'm interested to know where you got that really authentic and deep understanding of what it's like to be in a position like that. And, what more you might do with it. Because I know the film and TV charity, I did a video with them a little while ago. They're very keen on promoting, awareness of mental health within these industries as well. But that film we just saw is a powerful tool for creating empathy in a way, and you're not shouting about it, you're not promoting it as such, but it's doing something that loads of people are shouting and trying to do, but it's doing it a whole lot better. And I would just like to draw your attention to what you're doing in that respect and say, maybe that's worth leveraging in some other way, because it's powerful, and I congratulate you on it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, it's still quite new in its run steps, and I would love to just sort of push it as far as it can go in that respect. But I'd also like to say, to your question, was it where I got the feeling from? Well, Steps was a strange one because I had just finished my movie Home Fires, and at that point in my life I was quite young, younger than I am now. I think obviously there's a naivety, but there's also such a stress on where you're going to go, what you're going to do. Are you going to get married? Are you going to go and get a girlfriend? This, that, the other. And I found that I was very constricted after I made Home Fires because I'd spent so much time making this movie that and spending all that time that by the time I'd finished, obviously as a filmmaker you've got to go through hundreds and hundreds of years to get the good steps. But I thought, it's not going anywhere. What am I doing with my life? I have no job. I was in a few little part-time jobs, but again I had some experiences that were obviously two-sided, so in the sense that it wasn't always the person was horrible or whatever, but I just couldn't cope as much as I would have thought, and that was all sort of brought out because of the fact that I was very tired, that I tried to make this big movie and that I sort of almost thought that I had failed. And I thought, well, as a director you almost have to put your own feelings into a movie. That's how you get the better piece. That's how you make the best work. Is if you actually say, I can feel this. Whereas like with World War I mean, I couldn't say yes. I was in the trenches. I could feel that. And so Steps is almost like nothing to do with family. I've got a perfectly lovely, loving family, but in the feeling of being constrained and feeling a little bit sort of worthless. That is what I wanted to put into Steps, and essentially it's very strange watching it because after doing it, now that I'm a bit older and I understand, things are a slower process. It's helped a lot, but it's there. It's in Steps, immortalised, but I've left it in Steps, so it's almost a strange sort of therapy thing, I guess. Not to get too overly dramatic, but yes, that is how I got the feelings. And I think the main actor who played Harry Wells, who played James, was almost feeling the same, and we had a particular understanding in that sense of a young man who, is expected to do all these things, and if he doesn't get them, obviously is criticised, and it's very easy to criticise. Almost we took that and said, I know how your character's feeling. He said he knew how the character was feeling, so that's how we got into that headspace.
Well, I was just going to add that I think most people probably felt like that in their lives, whatever they do. They're always judging themselves, pressurising themselves to do better, and I'm not doing as well as him, she's doing better than me. Oh God, why not there yet? And so I think we can all empathise with the character, which is why I wanted him to succeed.
But I think as a writer, you always touch upon personal things. When you've written something, you then look through it and you think, oh yeah, that was a moment when I did this, or that was a moment when someone said that to me. It's almost subconscious, but you put it into your writing, and it improves your writing as a consequence.
Hi. First of all, congratulations to the cast. The wonderful characterizations of your individual characters, just beautiful, and obviously your direction as an actor, director, brilliant. My question kind of crosses over with your previous answer, really. I was really interested in your writing process. How did you sort of zone in into this particular character and decided to develop a story for him?
So the writing process for Steps was quite strange because we did have what I call a baseline, and sometimes, obviously, it depends on the movie. I like to work with either solid scripts or baseline scripts. And for Steps it was a baseline because I thought if I make it solid and then I look at it and it just doesn't seem right, then you've already shot it and then you have to keep going back. So essentially the writing process kept sort of adding little bits and pieces into it, little sort of changes and lines here and there. Oh, this is not how that person would say it. I know how I would say it would be this. So it was almost a bit of like a Jello sort of process of just we know the baseline. We know it has to get from A to B. We do this scene, then we say, okay, let's slightly alter it a bit. Let's think about what we could have in between there to then make the scene after a little bit more relatable. So essentially, it was almost, just a sort of a Jello process of just add a bit more this, add a bit more that. We need to add this character in because that will then relate back to the drinking and stuff. So it is really much First Steps, that Jello process.
If we can give our wonderful panel a last round of applause.